so much. Good evening and namaskar, and a huge welcome to each one of you to Trinayani's Daan Utsav Celebration, um, day 4. We've started it on the 2nd of October with the Game of Inclusion, partnering with Cheerful Connect. On the 3rd, we partnered with Rekha Balgi and Reach Out to talk about caregiving. There's Rekha. Then on the 4th, we partnered with Alap and Nina Wag to talk about the assisted living facilities in our country in community living. And today I'm so happy to partner with Nayi Disha and Prachi Dio's outfit for this very essential and relevant and important session on identity is important. It is going to be moderated by Somhrita Bhattacharjee, who's a content editor of Nayi Disha. And she will be in conversation with Krithika Sambasivan, Disability Research Lead Actor, Meghnaa Suraana, founder Bubbles, Upasana Nath, Public Policy Researcher, Actor. Now, I would like to introduce Somhrita, but before that, a little bit about Nayi Disha. Nayi Disha is a registered NGO, stands as an unwavering ally for families who serve as primary caregivers for children impacted by conditions such as autism, Down syndrome, and other developmental disabilities. Their purpose revolves around helping children realize their true potential, and they do so by offering families a constant stream of reliable information, guidance, and hope through their dynamic digital platform and a nurturing peer community. Somhrita from Nayi Disha takes on the role of content editor, manages information resources to the best of her ability. Additionally, she actively contributes to Nayi Disha's social work team, playing a pivotal role in UDID surveys and disseminating government scheme information. Somhrita, thank you so much for moderating this session for us. Over to you, and all the very best to all of us for this session.
Thank you, Krithika. So, hi everyone. I think someone. Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Somhrita, and I am representing Nayi Disha today. As Krithika already gave a brief idea about what Nayi Disha does, I will give later. I'll tell you about our mission and everything. But before that, I want to also, introduce Krithika, Meghnaa, and Upasana. And, they are from 2 different organizations, and it would be better if they give us a brief about their organization. So, Krithika, Upasana, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about PACTA?
Absolutely. So hi, everybody. Again, Krithika, thank you so much for having us, and thanks, an extension of a thank you to Nayi Disha, who sort of brought us into this whole conversation. So I'm Krithika, and I, as Ms. Krithika mentioned, that I lead disability research at PACTA. And PACTA is a Bangalore-based law firm. We are also a policy think tank, which we are dedicated exclusively to working with civil society organizations, universities, and nonprofit initiatives. We provide legal and policy consulting support for public service delivery. We also engage in law and policy research through self-driven or collaborative projects, which is sort of how Nayi Disha and we are doing this UDID project together. And we focus on 5 main areas, sorry. One is philanthropy, disability, education, gender, and information technology. So I'll let Upasana introduce herself and we'll move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Krithika. Hi, I'm Upasana. I mostly work with Krithika as a public policy researcher at PACTA. And over the last 1 year, I have done a little bit of research on a lot of several aspects of disabilities, and currently I am working on this project that Krithika was mentioning about, which we will also present to you later today. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Meghnaa, will you give us a brief about bubbles and yourself too?
So hi, good evening all. And first of all, thank you guys for having me over. Thank you, everyone. I am Meghnaa Suraana, and I think the best way I would like to introduce myself is I'm a mother. I have a 17-year-old with Down syndrome. I'm based out of Surat, and I founded this community called Bubbles informally about 7 years ago, formally about 4 years ago. Bubbles is basically a parent support community that we set up here in Surat because we realized that we needed a support system for new parents and also for parents who have young adults, basically access to therapies and more than anything else, just a community where you can share, talk. So that's how the idea of Bubbles started, but we've grown. We have currently we have close to 180 parents based primarily out of Surat, and we conduct therapies and workshops and courses and anything that I feel can help parents. So I'm connecting with the parents and educators across the country and just getting them onto Bubbles. That's about me and Bubbles.
Yeah, thank you, Meghnaa. So all of you, before you know what today's topic is, before we go into today's topic of what is UDID, why is identification necessary, why is this, what are the challenges for UDID applications and what do we do next? Let me give you a brief about what Nayi Disha also does. So basically, Nayi Disha, as Ritika gave you a vague idea about like Nayi Disha helping caregivers and basically Nayi Disha is a lifelong partner of these parents or caregivers of families, of children with intellectual disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, other developmental disabilities as well. And we try to create a support ecosystem for these parents all throughout their journey. So as our logo, if you have gone through our logo, we have our mission is symbolized in our logo, and we have 3 pillars. First is inform, and then connect, and then empower. So the first one, coming to the first one, inform. We inform parents through our service provider directory, where we now have more than 3,700 service providers registered with Nayi Disha. And these service providers basically they include therapists, psychologists, special schools, therapy centers, special educators, anybody whom these parents will need. So any parent can come to our website, and through our service provider directory, they can find the services around them. The second one is connect. And by connecting, we mean that we connect parents together through our support groups. And we have 28 support groups in different parts of our country, and there are several parents where parents can interact with each other, share their experiences, share their concerns, and talk to each other. So that is a way parent can connect, and it helps. Another way for connecting, I feel, is through our blogs, where any parent or caregiver or anybody registered to Nayi Disha can come to our website and write blogs about their experiences. So this helps other parents actually to read, their experiences and to relate to other people. So, and the third part is the empower part, where we have, we have information resources in the form of articles and posters, videos, audios, slideshows, this kind. We have more than 750 resources now for parents and caregivers, through these resources, the parents, they can gather information, and they can at least try to understand their child better. I mean, they will understand what are the challenges their child is facing, and also what they can do to help their child, basically. So apart from this, and we have these services, and we also conduct parent training programs by our in-house counselors and our special educators for parents. And anybody who wants to reach out to us, we have a helpline team with us. I'll put the helpline number on the chat box, and if you have any queries, if you want to talk to anybody about anything related to intellectual disabilities, you can reach out to us on the helpline, on our helpline number. Yeah, so I'll just put it on the chat. Yeah. So now coming forward to our topic today, about what why is identity important and everything. Before that, we should know that what UDID is. Most of you must have already known it, that UDID, it stands for Unique Disability ID Card. It is an unique identity card mandated by Indian government for any person with disability. It can be physical, it can be intellectual. So that is what UDID is. But now the question arises that even if this card is at all necessary, I mean, I just want to ask you people, what do you think? I mean, why is UDID card important? Is it only because will it give the people with disability unique identity? Will it solve the problem of counting? Or I mean, because there is a challenge that we don't have exact number of PWDs in our country. So is it only that, or I mean, what is it? If anyone can answer, it would be great. Yeah, so, well, okay, Mohini, I'll try to mix Hindi and English. Okay, yeah, for government schemes, Prachi, of course. But मतलब मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ हिंदी में भी. मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि UDID सिर्फ एक कार्ड नहीं है, सिर्फ एक आइडेंटिटी कार्ड है, सिर्फ ये नहीं. मतलब जस्ट थिंक इन दिस वे कि वो एक आइडेंटिटी भी तो है. मतलब अगर मैं अपने कंट्री में काउंटेड ही नहीं हूँ, then I don't have my presence, basically. UDID will also acknowledge my presence. मतलब it is a very powerful tool in that way कि पहले तो मेरा presence acknowledge हो, फिर मेरा needs, then my support, and then government schemes and everything which I'm entitled to. But the first step, I think, is that what UDID provides. It's an identity, it's an unique thing which every person with disability will have. Yeah, somebody has written in the chat box that getting disability card is difficult. So yeah, so is Aadhaar not mandatory? We will come to the question answer part afterwards, and I will answer your questions later afterwards. So we know that why UDID is important and everything. Somebody wrote in the chat, which is true. It's very tough. It shouldn't be. Getting an UDID card should be a straightforward process where it will be very easy for parents or people with disability to get it, but it is not. And in Nayi Disha, our helpline team regularly gets queries from parents where parents are complaining that they have either applied for UDID and they're not getting it, or they're unable to apply. I mean, I spoke to a parent yesterday who said that she had applied for her son's UDID card on 2020, and till now she hasn't received it. And she had, I mean, she had filed complaints and everything, but nothing helped, really. So there are challenges, and we have Meghnaa. Meghnaa has a beautiful daughter with Down syndrome, and Meghnaa is also fighting that. So Meghnaa can share her challenges when she applied for UDID. Yeah, Meghnaa, please.
Yes, I'll do that right away, everyone. Like I already shared, I have Down syndrome. And the fact that she has Down syndrome makes her eligible to have the UDID, right? Because if you're born with that disability, she deserves to have the UDID. Now, my challenge with her UDID has been this. So in order to get the UDID, and this is how I understand, this is how the process is, in Surat at least. I live in Surat, by the way, if I haven't already shared this. We have to go to the civil hospital where there is an IQ test that is conducted. And as per the norms, based on the IQ test, she becomes eligible for the UDID. Now, the fact that she is born with Down syndrome, I think should be enough for her to qualify for the disability card at least, because she's born with it. It's been a long fight. I still haven't got her UDID because when they conduct the IQ test with my daughter, her name is Unnati, by the way, they have certain, now, by the way, these, I personally feel these tests are really outdated. I mean, she's 17. You cannot really have, you cannot ask a 17-year-old to arrange blocks in a particular sequence. You cannot really ask a 17-year-old. आप एक 17 साल की बच्ची को बोल रहे हो कि ये स्टोरी के 4 लाइंस है, इसको आप ऑर्डर में अरेंज करो. आप इस तरह की एक्टिविटीज उसको देते हो, एंड फिर आप एक्सपेक्ट, और फिर वो डॉक्टर्स मुझे बोलते कि अरे इसका IQ तो इट्स 80+, she cannot get a UDID. That's unfair. First of all, वो IQ टेस्ट उसके एज के लिए एप्लीकेबल ही नहीं है. एंड मेरी लड़ाई अब यहाँ हो गई है कि हर बार मुझे जाके हॉस्पिटल में ये प्रूव करना पड़ रहा है that my child is disabled. I mean, how fair is that? Don't we already have enough fights at our end? Aren't we already fighting so many other battles? For me, and every time, I mean, I can't even recall now how many times I've been to the civil hospital for this. The last time that I went there, so this doctor, he tells me that, okay, if you're not happy with our IQ test, why don't you go to Ahmedabad and get the IQ test done? My question is, why should I go to Ahmedabad? This is something that the government owes me. I mean, it's something that my child deserves. And I have had multiple experiences. There was this one time where one of the doctors told me, ma'am, you should be happy that your child is not getting a UDID. Your child is not disabled. Aap iski shaadi kar sakte ho. Imagine this is the kind of attitude the doctors at the civil hospital in our city have. And one of the doctors, okay, when I say doctor, I mean doctor, one of the doctors in the psychiatry ward of the civil hospital has asked me this question. Does your daughter have Down syndrome since birth? How do you even, I mean, how else can you get Down syndrome? If that is the quality of doctors we are I mean, who are responsible for issuing the UDID, it is going to be a challenge. It is going to be a challenge. So my daughter is currently appearing for her 12th NIOS exams. In fact, today she wrote an exam. And because we do not have the UDID, she doesn't have a scribe. She doesn't have any of the benefits that she can avail. So for those of you who do not know, अगर आपके बच्चे के पास UDID होता है और वो NIOS जो National Institute of Open Schooling से जो एग्जाम्स लिखते हैं, या फॉर दैट मैटर अगर CBSE के एग्जाम्स के लिए भी अपीयर करते हैं, तो कुछ कंसेशंस हैं जो हमें गवर्नमेंट देती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, टाइम लिमिट एक्सटेंड हो जाता है, उनको एक स्क्राइब, एक राइटर मिल सकते हैं एग्जाम लिखने के लिए, कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स के एग्जाम्शंस मिल सकते हैं. बट बिकॉज मेरे पास वो UDID नहीं है, तो मेरी डॉटर को ये कंसेशंस नहीं मिले हैं. सेकेंडली, the other challenge that I also face is my daughter is interested in playing table tennis. Now, if I want her to appear for the Special Olympics, she's not even disabled in the eyes of the law. How does she appear for the Special Olympics? So it is not about having that card purely because of the government schemes or the concessions. It is exactly what Somhrita just mentioned. It is my child's identity. I cannot be, I cannot be fighting to keep proving to the world that my child is disabled, my child is disabled. That's unfair. So yeah, that's my fight.
Thank you, Meghnaa, for sharing this. And what do I say? We are hearing about it always.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm Shobha speaking from Bangalore.
Yes.
Just wanted to share. I heard Mrs. Meghnaa speaking. As per the Gazette, there is a possibility for certification of disability even below 40%. So people with IQ below 90 have different percentages. I mean, there is a percentage of disability given for every, score of IQ, all the way up to those with 90 plus, and learning disability can be classified as a specific learning disability. From 84 to 90, you have, the global learning disability, and they are qualified with 25% and 20%. There is a misconception even here in Bangalore among the doctors and everybody. But as far as NIOS is concerned, here in Bangalore, they are accepting the, IQ test report without the UDID card based on the referral of the institution which is doing the IQ test, and saying that this child is eligible for concessions based on the fact that there is global learning disability, even though it is not quoted in a percentage basis.
Thank you, Shobha, for sharing this. Actually, there are challenges in different states, and the challenges are different. We wanted to understand, considering there are so many challenges, we wanted to find out, we wanted to do a survey, and we wanted to do something about it. And PACTA, Krithika, Upasana, they're from PACTA, and PACTA had partnered with us, and we had conducted pan-India survey to understand UDID challenges faced by parents. Also, like if a person with disability is applying even for them. And we focused on 5 states, Maharashtra, UP, MP, Karnataka, Telangana. And Krithika and Upasana, they are working on the data they got, and they're analyzing the data, and they will probably walk us through their analysis. So Krithika, Upasana, please go ahead with your
Sure.
analysis. Yeah.
Thanks, Somhrita. Thank you all for the very qualitative insights that you just provided, Ms. Shobha, Ms. Meghnaa. Ms. Meghnaa, I've spoken to you as well as part of our research, but it is a painful process, and we recognize that, and that's how we sort of came about doing this research. So for today, we are only going to present our findings in Maharashtra. So since we just closed the survey recently, we have only analyzed our Maharashtra data. And I would like to sort of, Upasana and I will walk you through some of the preliminary findings of our data. And just, I also want to acknowledge our colleague Riddhi, who has really done the analysis. So while she's not here, I just want to acknowledge her at this platform. So just before I go into my slides, I just want to give you an overall broad finding. So in Maharashtra, most of our respondents were parents and caregivers of persons with disabilities. I'll give you more context when we go into the presentation. Our sample had mostly male persons with disabilities. Most participants in our survey had applied for the UDID card and received it as well. But it took an average of 6.8 months to receive the card. For those who had applied, fewer people faced technical, medical, and linking issues. Linking meaning linking the state disability certificate with the UDID card. For those who did not apply for the card, lack of awareness and knowledge about the UDID process and its benefits were the major barriers in applying. So these are just very broad findings, but we will go through it, and we are sort of happy to take questions at the end of our presentation. I'll just share my screen if you don't mind, just 1 minute. Sorry, I would need screen sharing permission, please. Or if Somhrita, you can share the screen.
Meghnaa, will you give her the permission?
And the permission has been accepted.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You can try it.
Sure, thank you. Oh yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, I hope everybody can see my screen. I will go to presentation mode. Okay, so just a heads up, we focused on Maharashtra because it was sort of Trinayani, and we thought, okay, let's talk about Maharashtra today. But just to keep you posted, we are going to have individual reports on each of these states that Somhrita mentioned. And it'll come out in the course of another 6 months, all the reports. So just a brief outline, and I want to give the participants a heads up. If any of the words sound a little jargony or a little researchy, please let us know. I'm happy to break it down into simpler language, but we've kept it as simple as possible. And I'm sorry, my Hindi is not very good, so I'll just sort of walk you through in English, but we can answer questions in Hindi after as well. Okay, so sort of why did we conduct the survey? How did we do the survey? And some of the survey findings and some of the limitations of the study. So why did we conduct the survey? So we identified a ground-up problem with Nayi Disha from parents and caregivers. So as Somhrita mentioned, since it is a problem that was brought to us from the parents and caregivers through the NGO, that is Nayi Disha. And at that time, which was about 1.5 years ago, I guess, multiple problems were reported in obtaining the UDID from parents and caregivers. However, the sample was too small. So we had about 70 respondents with just a phone call survey with 2 or 3 questions. And we got tremendous insights, even with those few questions and a few responses. Then we decided, why not expand the survey and find out what is the state of UDID in the country. So we chose 5 states as a convenient sample because of Nayi Disha's presence in these 5 states, the states being Karnataka because we are here, that's PACTA's here, and we have a wide network of NGOs. And of course, Telangana, because Nayi Disha is based in Telangana. We chose Maharashtra, UP, and Madhya Pradesh. So in order to make any sort of policy recommendations, we need a larger sample. So we sort of went in a larger sort of data collection mode. Then how did we do the survey? So it was a collaborative effort between PACTA and Nayi Disha. We created a survey based on the early data gathered. The survey questions were designed to understand the major challenges related to obtaining a UDID. And the survey form was in a Google form in 5 languages. And I think you can see that it was in English, Hindi, Marathi, Kannada, and Telugu. The survey was distributed through NGO channels, foundations like the Azim Premji Foundation, parent groups, and through experts in the disability space who had connections with other organizations. We also did some social media promotions to sort of get more participants to buy into the survey. And data was collected over a period of 6 months. So we sort of started in February and we closed it only recently and around August. So what were our findings? Who responded? So the survey catered to, I'll tell you, we had about 423 respondents from Maharashtra, of which there were 309 parent caregivers and 114 persons with disabilities. So the survey was, it permitted, if you were a parent caregiver, you could fill it out, or if you were a person with disability, you could also fill it out. So it allowed both sort of channels to fill out the form. So now I'm just going to show you some of the data from the way the parents and caregivers have reported for on behalf of the child with disability. Mainly it was a child. So age and educational level of the parent and caregivers, most parents were, the mean age of the parents were 45, or the average age of the parents were 45. And you could see the level of education of the parents. About 72 or 72% of our parents in the group were graduate or higher educated, whereas only 27% were school level educated. We also, now in reporting about their child, we found the mean age of the child was about 17 years. Their gender, mostly male, so about 69% were male in the sample and 31 were female. And the education of persons with disabilities most of them were in school, so that's not a very surprising finding. And type of disability, so mostly we found that the sample had mostly intellectual disability, people with intellectual disabilities, then it was followed by autism spectrum, and then finally multiple disability. So this was the predominant sort of disability reported by the parents of their child. And whether they had a permanent disability, most parents said yes. And then as reported by the persons and with disabilities themselves. So if I'm a person with disability, I fill out the form, and we found that they were of an average age of 33 years, mostly male, and interestingly, their education levels were at school. Highest education level was school. So type of disability, in this case, we found that other disabilities were predominant. So mostly they were visual impairment accounted for in the others. And then followed by intellectual disability, and then finally multiple disability. So this was the largest percentage of representation of persons with disabilities. Again, and not surprisingly, most people had reported permanent disabilities. So now I'll hand it over to Upasana. She will walk you through the core findings of the study.
Thank you, Krithika. Yeah, now we will be, so now the responses that we got were both from persons with disabilities as well as the parents. So I'll quickly go through some of the challenges that we came across in doing the surveys. The first slide we look at is how many of the respondents had applied versus how many had received. So about 294, that is 70% of the respondents had applied for UDID, while 30% had not applied for UDID from our sample. And amongst the people who had applied for UDID, almost 72% had received the UDID card, while 28% did not. When compared, and then we also compared to what percentage had state disability certificate versus how many had the UDID certificate. And from our findings, it becomes clear that a lot of people who had the state issued disability certificate also had applied for UDID certificate. Like almost 92% of the respondents who had a state disability certificate also had applied for UDID. Amongst them, only 66% actually had the UDID, as in they already received the UDID. So there still exists a gap between how many people had applied for state disability certificates versus how many now had UDID cards. Moving on to the challenges encountered. So when we were talking to, when it comes to applicants, a significant proportion of the applicants mentioned that they did not face a technical challenge when they were applying for the UDID cards. When it comes to the linking as well, a major proportion of the respondents said that they did not face any challenges when it came to linking the UDID cards. Moving on to the medical challenges, here we did see a higher response rate, and the major challenges that came about from the survey results were the repetition of assessment procedure despite diagnosis of permanent disability. So a lot of the respondents reported this to be a big challenge. The other challenges that were also reported was the lack of clear point of contact when going for a medical assessment, as well as multiple referrals and consultations. Since our survey also included people who had not applied for UDID, the challenges they reported were different from what the applicants reported. The biggest challenge among people who did not yet apply for UDID was inadequate knowledge on the benefits of the UDID card, lack of information about the UDID process, and finally, the lack of knowledge in connecting UDID and state disability certificates, which makes it clear that a lot of the challenge is mostly because of a limited awareness on how to get a UDID or why one should get a UDID. In conducting the survey, we tried to be as careful as possible, but there were still some limitations that we would like to draw your attention to. So since the respondents were mostly approached through networks, which were possibly supported by NGOs, so it might have had a impact on making the process simpler. Like, for example, if Nayi Disha does support people for getting the UDID, they might not report the same level of challenges that somebody who does not have support reports. Also, another limitation that we think was the mode of survey was through Google Forms, and these Google Forms were accessible to a certain kind of population with a certain level of education and accessibility. Yeah, the sample was probably not as diverse as would or representative, because we were focusing on NGO networks which were working on specific disabilities in this case. Also, from the respondents, we realized that respondents were mostly from an urban area and not as much from a rural background. This is what we would like to report from our research, and we would also like to hear from you if what we presented is actually a reflection of what is happening when it comes to applying or getting UDID for the disabled population in Maharashtra. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, so Krithika, Upasana, do you think, I mean, what are the legal policy measures for these challenges? Are there any?
It's mostly we have some solutions, but if anybody sort of from the audience would like to sort of also give their view. I mean, we know personal stories, but in general, if you have an idea of how things are in Maharashtra, we know and we understand now UDID is compulsory for many, for a lot of things, and without it, a lot of benefits court cannot be availed. So we would sort of like to understand if sort of the situation that is our results are reflective of the situation in Maharashtra, or is it that, you know, because of the presence of NGOs and other institutions that really help in obtaining the UDID, and you know that, you know, a lot of people in the survey have actually got it. Yeah. So Chitta, I think you raised your hand.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. I'm from Mumbai, and I have my niece who is having mild autism and ADHD. So first, initially, in the school, she goes in a normal school. So initially, the school is very supportive. And initially in school, they were said that it is not the right time. At the age of 9 and 10, then only we can go for all these UDID cards and all that thing. So for that, first we need to have a disability certificate. Okay, so there are various government recognized hospitals wherein you have to go for that. But it is not easy to get this disability certificates. Means, first of all, it is very far off, and means there is no accessibility of government hospitals in, say, in 10 kilometers or in 5 kilometers. And secondly, you have to go there multiple times. It took me 6 months to get the disability certificate, which means as a normal working parents, it becomes very difficult. So at times I used to send my mother, and they don't want grandparents also, they just want the parents to be there with the children. So, and when you go, there is no time foundation, means you have to give full day, and multiple times they keep on calling, and even you have to follow up with them regularly. So it took 6 to 7 months, and after that also, means I'm still in process of applying this UDID card, and I'm also a counselor and working with a legal firm for this thing only. So I have come in contact with many people who are having a means special child, but still they are not aware of this UDID card. Secondly, they think that अच्छा आधार कार्ड नहीं मिल रहा है तो UDID कार्ड लेना जरूरी है क्या? और एंड दे आर हैविंग कि क्यों लेना चाहिए, अगर हम लोग इतनी मेहनत करके लेते भी हैं तो इट इज वैलिड फॉर 3 years, then again whole lot of procedure. So they find it's a very tedious job to get it done, and they are not inclined towards getting this.
Thank you so much, Suchita. I think there are others as well.
Yeah, I think we can start taking questions since a lot of people are asking a lot of questions. Let's just answer. Yeah, I mean, one by one, we can take others' questions.
Here is that she has got the disability certificate. She has applied for
Yes.
the UDID, but she hasn't received the UDID.
She hasn't received it. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you also mentioned that she is appearing for her NIOS. Am I right here?
Yeah, it's appearing anyways.
And has she been able to avail the concessions?
Yeah, without UDID, she is going to give tomorrow is her exam. And the practicals she has given.
Yeah, but have you got the concessions for her?
Yes, exactly.
जैसे UDI वो एग्जाम खुद लिखने वाली है, आपको टाइम एक्सटेंशन मिला है, स्क्राइब ऐसा कुछ मिला है, आपने अप्लाई किया है?
नहीं मैडम, सभी कुछ नहीं पता. Tomorrow only she is going to appear her exam.
अच्छा. तो इसमें क्या होता है, अगर हमारे पास जब हम NIOS के एग्जाम्स के लिए अप्लाई करते हैं और अगर हम हमारा UDID साथ में एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म के टाइम पे एप्लीकेशन जब हम अप्लाई करते हैं ना, उस टाइम अगर हम UDID साथ में सबमिट करते हैं तो हमें एग्जाम्स में कंसेशंस मिलते हैं हमारे बच्चों के लिए.
अच्छा.
जैसे आधा घंटा एक्स्ट्रा मिलता है, और अगर बच्चा खुद लिख नहीं सकता है तो कोई और उनके लिए लिख सकता है. जैसे हमारे सूरत में बहुत सारे बच्चे NIOS के लिए अपीयर किए हैं जिनके साथ में दूसरे राइटर्स गए हैं. आपकी डॉटर 10th का लिख रही है या 12th का लिख रही है?
10th का लिख रही है.
10th का लिख रही है. अब देखिए कल ही एग्जाम है तो फ्रैंकली अभी तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते, बट आप जब वापस 12th के लिए अप्लाई करते हैं तो एप्लीकेशन के टाइम पर अगर आपके पास UDID होता है तो वो आप साथ में जरूर सबमिट करिए.
मैडम ये हमारे सवाल है, कब हम UDID अप्लाई किया, I got acknowledgement, it is showing that it is with a district doctor somewhere. So how to move that I don't know. Whether I should go to that hospital, because I am not from Jharkhand, I am from Tamil Nadu, so I don't know. And next process, how to go there. That's I struck with that. Yeah, I have acknowledgement, I applied. After that, I don't know what to do.
Wish I had the answer to that. Maybe the district.
That is what we are discussing. No, there are a lot of challenges, and this kind of problems are there.
I think that is what we need. We need to have this structure in place, a one common structure for the entire country, rather than so many challenges at so many levels.
And actually, I request Nayi Disha also, will you prepare a flow chart, like from the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4?
Flow chart for UDID, you mean?
Yeah, flow chart for UDID with the easy understanding, even the grassroots parent who doesn't know any education, because they are not highly educated, but still they can keep the UDID like the simple flow chart. If you can give and circulate it, You go this
Right,
and this.
ma'am, we do have a video and a PPT on how to apply for UDID. We will share it in the WhatsApp group then. I will
Yeah,
share it after this
yeah,
call.
like
Yeah.
Hello.
first we should
Hello.
go to online site. What are the certificate is required to be uploaded? And after that, when you get received, then the state, district hospital, somewhere it is going. What to do next? I don't know actually. I'm just struck up with that. No guidance. So
Right. You can also, like Prachi had referred, I also have, if you know Nayi Disha's helpline number, you can also call and ask us, Sushil.
Hello.
Do you mean you want to go to Assam and apply for UDID?
Yeah, because here what I have seen is that doctors are not cooperative at all. I mean,
Yeah,
I
as
don't.
far I know, Prachi also can answer this. I think Telangana only acknowledges Sadaram certificate as of now. I
No,
mean,
Sam, and I
Hmm.
can go and submit it for UDID, right? Then I do not need
Right.
the Sadram certificate.
I mean,
Sir, as per
Sadaram certificate is also the state. You didn't get your Sadaram certificate as well. Are
No,
you saying
because I
that?
was given 25%,
Okay,
so it says that I am not eligible.
right. But then if you want an UDID card, you don't need a disability certificate. It's not mandatory. You don't have to go to Assam and apply for state disability certificate and then apply for UDID.
But in
Our card has to be from the state where you're residing in, and you have to apply in the same state. That is another
Correct.
challenge. I'll tell you why.
Correct.
See, because I wasn't able to get Unnati's UDID here in Surat, someone suggested that probably it would be easier in the Navsari Civil Hospital because there are doctors there who understand the condition there. So we traveled all the way to Navsari, and just because we did not have her stated Surat address, we couldn't apply for it. It has to be your place of residence. That's the problem I faced. I have been to Navsari purely for her UDID.
I think it
Probably,
might be
Shivani, it probably could differ from state to state.
Haan, so
My
things-
experience says
haan.
this, that it has to be your. And by the way, we did one more thing. We had a rented property in Navsari. So I had, taken those documents, but they didn't accept that. Your Aadhaar should belong to the place where you are applying for a UDID. That's how it works in Gujarat.
So एक और चीज है कि it is also that state to state there is a lot of difference in application of UDID. For example, Haryana and Chandigarh is where I belong. बहुत ही smooth process था. I had everything done within a month's time. It was very easy. And even in Delhi, for example, it is very easy. Something as small as parents complaining कि अगर उनका बच्चा 5 साल से कम उम्र का है तो उस बच्चे को डिसेबिलिटी सर्टिफिकेट नहीं दिया जा रहा था बिकॉज साइकेट्रिस्ट को जो इंफॉर्मेशन है, जो उनकी नॉलेज बेस है, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट यू कांट डू एन IQ टेस्ट अंटिल योर चाइल्ड इज 5 और इसलिए उसको डिसेबिलिटी सर्टिफिकेट नहीं दिया जा सकता. बट इट इज क्लियरली मैंडेटेड इन द लॉ दैट इवन at the time the child is born also, from 1 year to 5 years also, they do a test and they will give you a certificate based on global developmental delay. They may not say Down syndrome or they may not say autism, but you are by law eligible for a disability certificate, even if your child is less than 5 years of age. And then till the time the child is, I think, 18, it keeps getting renewed every 5 years. But ये information भी psychiatrist के पास नहीं है, even चंडीगढ़ जैसे शहर में. और UDID applications का process और उसका actual completion state to state differ कर रहा है. So what may work in my state may not work in Gujarat.
And within the state it also differs. So with Bubbles, I arrange a UDID camp once every 3 months. And for some of, in fact, for most of my people here, it's been a pretty easy process to get the UDID. There are few of us who are facing the challenge, not everyone. But yeah, I agree to what you said. It differs from state to state. It does.
There are states who do not acknowledge UDID at all also, like West.
And coming back to the question, the Aadhaar will always take precedence over the birth certificate. That is something I need to really clarify. The birth certificate will not really matter here. So it makes no sense for you to travel to Assam.
And if it helps parents, the NIPID की जो site है, उसपे you should be able to get some clarity also. It's an organization in Noida. Prachi, I mean, I don't know if you can maybe collaborate with them on this, because they are very clear on what is happening and how to go about it.
But for her state के लिए, as much as UDID was supposed to be country level, finally what is happening is the implementation as well as the benefits are finally at the it is still becoming a state level thing. So the whole idea of having UDID is still a challenge until and unless you get UDID probably. But again, if you have an UDID and you go to West Bengal, you will not be able to avail those benefits. But definitely we can look at reaching out. We have NIPED in Hyderabad also. We are also be looking.
Why to go, and follow up with the UDID, and what are its benefits? Because my son is already, taking benefit from the railways. So is it mandatory to, get this UDID certificate for further concession from the railways or any other things? I just want to know the benefits.
Yeah. Hi, ma'am. I just wanted to ask you, where are you from?
Bangalore.
Okay, you're from Bangalore. Okay. So your son has a railway concession card, I understand.
Yes.
But if you have UDID, you have, like Meghnaa was also referring to NIOS. So you get concessions in 5 sectors. Travel, travel as in it's railway and bus.
Okay.
Okay. In education also. If he studies, then he'll get relaxation in age, time, he'll get a scrip and this kind. And there is income tax benefits also.
80GG, I think, no?
Yes, yes. For caregivers as well as for people with disability.
Got it.
There are different income tax relaxations.
Mm-hmm.
There are health insurance schemes also. Like there is Niramaya scheme, and so that will cover up to 1 lakh. So these are there, the government schemes. And also, I don't know about your son, but people who need assistive devices, they can get concession on that too. So if you need any of these benefits, you would probably, need an UDID card for easier.
Okay, that's what I am assuming. Maybe these benefits, some of which are not applicable to few people. A few children.
Right.
Okay. My son doesn't study, so that scribe thing doesn't apply to him.
Right. Right. Yes.
But,
for guardianship, UDID is mandatory. You will need the UDID.
Okay.
And also in the state of Gujarat, this is a state thing. If you have the UDID, the Gujarat government gives a pension of 1,000 rupees every month. So a lot of my children at Bubbles are able to avail the rupees 1,000 every month, which the government, if you have the UID, which the government gives.
Yeah, but Meghnaa, even that is a state-wise thing.
Yeah, I know this.
Yes, you can also get a pension if you have a disability certificate. So
maybe for a 33-year-old, it's not education or anything. You may not be requiring pension, but if you're going to leave property on his name and he has to manage himself in life later on, and you need to, put somebody as a guardian or create a trust. If you want to do a trust in his name, then you have to, a trust for his benefit. You have to have his UDID henceforth. Going forward, UDID has to be made. Definitely.
In fact, today.
Yes, please go.
Ma'am, if supposedly we have a UDID made, what kind of support can we get in NIOS? Like ma'am said that we do have a concession regarding the time. But if the child is 7 or 8 years old, will he or she be given a scribe? And second question is, like ma'am said, in Gujarat, they do have a pension for kids. I want to know the same because I am a single mother. And and I don't have a father or a brother. So somehow I am managing my child, and she is preferably doing good in a special school. So are there any facilities for a child who is 8 years old, like any sort of pension from the government? Because normally I've heard in Uttar Pradesh, it is above 18 years.
In Gujarat, age is not the criteria. Those above 5 are getting the pension. So I cannot answer this question about UP. And coming to academic concessions related to exams, NIOS का 10th और 12th का एग्जाम लिखते हैं बच्चे. तो 7 to 8 year old के लिए ये वाला आपका रिलैक्सेशन जो हम बात कर रहे थे वो अभी वैलिड नहीं होगा. आप इसको डेफिनेटली बाद में यूज कर सकते हैं.
अच्छा, और मैम लास्ट
What everyone can do is state your questions on that WhatsApp group. Meghnaa is answering a lot of NIS questions. Shivani has shared some. We can answer the ones we can, and which we can't, we will all try and find out answers to. But probably otherwise, we might reach tomorrow. Sorry, Ritika, I spoke on your behalf. Up mute.
You know, I must tell you, I have just instructed Remita that she should also save the chat, because on the chat there are a number of queries, and we will see to it that we send it to you. And as and when you respond to them, this has been the best 1.5 hours that I've spent in any cycle. You know, my heart goes out to so many questions and so many. I mean, it's incredible how each parent in this group is seeking answers and is trying to do their best for their ward. So let me promise you, if there is, I mean, I've already made up my mind that we should definitely have an interesting film on this entire process. Nice one. It doesn't have to be boring. It'll be a nice one with people talking and giving us information about it, so that we reach out basic information. We don't have to go very deep, because for depth, we have to do what Shobha's saying. We really have to read and do our homework and be prepared. A lot of things that I realized is that parents have to really upgrade their information, upgrade their knowledge about processes, about the changes that is happening in the processes. But Prachi, absolutely, my gratitude to you and to your entire team, who is answering these questions, who is trying to make lives easier and better and facilitate this. I'm just heading to the aircraft, and I just sent a message to my team. I said, in case I have to log out, because I will soon hear the host saying that apne mein mobile band kijiye. I said, just continue with this, because everybody here who's seeking answers needs to get them. So what I will do is thank you to each one of you who's been here, our panelists, our moderator, Prachi, each of you who's logged in here with your issues, and you felt empowered to share it with everybody, so that from each one of our responses and questions, each one of us have learned. This was Trinayani's Daan Utsav event.